And welcome to 5 After 5. We're hitting the 5 hottest topics in the sports world. I'm Frank Cusimano. This is Corey Miller. Let's do it.
All right, first things first, we're going to talk about the main thing we've been talking about lately, the lockout latest. Didn't seem like a very productive, informal meeting today.
Can't understand how you'd only meet for 90 minutes, how you would not specifically set a time for the next time you're going to meet. Corey, the more and more I think about this thing, I doubt if we're going to see baseball the first month of the season.
It definitely seems like the owners aren't too inclined to make that happen. You talked to Ken Rosenthal and Adam Wainwright this morning for Sports Plus. Some strong words from Waino.
Yes, I think he didn't want to go that way, but then once you brought it up, he wants what's best for Major League Baseball. That's why you kind of admire like he and Scherzer, because they've made their hundreds of millions of dollars. They're thinking about the future of the game, the future of the players, and players have to get paid early, and they want a better slice of the pie for the players moving forward.
And Ken Rosenthal made it sound like this is going to last at least a little while at the very least.
You know, I'm not exactly sure of the specific date, but they don't lose television money like almost the entire first month. Maybe it's like 25 games. So they can take their sweet time and see if the players will panic and cave.
All right, let's see. Let me pull up the next thing on our list. We're going to talk about, it is March, so it's time to start talking college hoops more in depth. 3 local teams, looks like, well, Illinois is going to be in there for sure. They've got a chance to go all the way. Mizzou has to win their tournament. SLU has to win their tournament probably as well. Let's start with SLU. Do they have a chance to win the A-10 tournament?
I think that matchup against St. Bonaventure, and I've seen both games, is a tough matchup. And then that matchup against Davidson is really tough. They'd have to meet Bonnie in round 2 and then Davidson to win it all. It doesn't look great for this year, but we got to remember a couple of years ago, they went up there, they won 4 games in 4 days and got to the tournament. I mean, they certainly played at a really, really high level. And, you know, this emergence of Fred Thatch as their best three-point shooter kind of makes you have a little bit of hope.
If you're watching on Facebook, leave a comment. We'll try to get to you. Illinois, what kind of seed do you think they're going to be in line for?
Well, a lot's going to depend on how they finish. But I think if they were to get like to the Big Ten championship game, I think they could get as high as 2. We're probably looking at more of a 3 or 4 seed. But I tell you, that Big Ten tournament, I don't know how you could say, yeah, well, this team's going to win for sure. I mean, look at Purdue, look at Wisconsin, and then Illinois. Boy, that's scary.
Let's move on. What's our next thing? Blues and Rangers last night. That felt like a playoff game. And Ryan O'Reilly kind of said it after that. They knew it was going to feel like that. And he still thinks they were the better team, learned a few things, but that was an exciting environment. Yeah,
I like what he said, too, when they asked him, do you come out of here with less confidence? He says, absolutely not. Because let's face it, they, after 2 periods, were beating one of the best teams in hockey in their backyard. But, you know, the last 60 minutes and not 40 minutes, there's really not anything not to like about the Blues. And I think the only big question, Corey, as we get closer and closer to the deadline is, will Doug Armstrong give up a piece to get that left-handed shooting defenseman? That's what I think the most intriguing question about the Blues, you know, moving forward for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Did you happen to see the little thing with Ryan Reeves and Steve Ott on the bench?
Yeah.
That was
talking smack. Is there anybody more intimidating in all of sports, maybe Aaron Donald, than Ryan Reeves?
I love that Ryan Reeves has been able to make a long career. He's been in the league for a long time now, and that's just because he's not just some goon. He can play a little bit, too.
He can play a little. In fact, Reed Lowe said this to me today on the radio. He said that he thinks that he's the last one.
Yeah.
There won't be another one like him. Because let's face it, you know, we're losing the enforcers year by year. They always are healthy scratches in the postseason. And now, I mean, take a long look at Ryan Reeves because you're not going to see anybody else like him, I think, in the near future.
Next thing, Cardinals Hall of Fame candidates were announced today. You're on that red ribbon panel. Some fun names: Matt Holliday and George Hendrick on for the first time. You know the whole list: Edgar Renneria, Matt Morris, Steve Carlton. Who do you think has the best shot at getting in this year?
I don't see how. You know, sometimes they want to make like guys wait, like in the National Hall of Fames. I don't see how you could look at Matt Holliday's body of work and say, no, you're going to have to wait a year. He was one of the great Cardinals of his generation, one of the best players of his generation. I think he has to get in right away.
And it's just one person this year, I believe, because to build the Hall of Fame, there was a couple guys in, but now it's just one. So I think that's a good idea to stretch things out over time.
Yeah, and with La Russa being on the committee, he's going to be pushing hard for Matt.
Yeah.
For a while, let's go inside baseball, is La Russa would be lobbying for his players, and then Herzog would be lobbying for his players, and we would just sit back there and watch them. They wouldn't, I wouldn't say argue, but they gave strong endorsements for only their guys.
Steve Carlton's an interesting case, though. He's
Yeah.
been on the ballot for a long time, and you think Steve Carlton, you think, oh, obviously Hall of Famer.
But
But
just
the
not
whole
long
thing in a Cardinals uniform, of course.
Yeah, he did have a 20 victory season, and I believe he had a 19 strikeout performance against the Mets. And let's face it, it's one of the worst trades of all time. Rick Wise was an okay pitcher, but they gave up a guy who won 327. But I don't know if his Cardinal resume is good enough. And also, this probably should enter in our line of thinking. Will he come here? I mean, I guess he's come here a few times before. He's an interesting
He's a
bird.
reclusive guy. Michael saying he loves these 5 after 5 videos. Thanks, Michael. Mary asking if you got your dog back. Good news to report. You did get your dog back. Great name after Reggie Jackson.
Yes.
Back
we
at
were
home.
Thrilled. The lovely Monique picked him up at 10 a.m. today, and I got to see him at 12:15. It was a great reunion. I did not let go of that young man for a long, long time.
Last thing, it is JJK's 60th birthday today, Frank.
Wow.
When I say JJK, just what do you think?
I think of the sweetest person I think I've ever met in sports. I think of the greatest female athlete of all time. I just think of a woman who just smiles and smiles. She's just the most beautiful person.
And she's done so much good work around St. Louis,
Yeah.
too, as well, on top of the athletic achievements.
Yeah, the foundation in her center, a lot of these things, go up and then they go away. What happened? Hers has had great, lasting power.
Definitely one to be proud of here in St. Louis. That'll do it for today's 5 after 5. We'll be back next Tuesday. Have a great day, everybody.